Thank you very much, and welcome everybody. Let us pray. Almighty God, we in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the officers of leaders, the county assemblies for the welfare of the society, and the just government of the people. We beseech you to behold with your abundant favor, as your servants whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important tasks in the country. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters shall come under our deliberations in a so just and a faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace and prosperity and welfare of our county and of those whose interest you have committed to our church. Amen. Apology, Abil Nyasuna. Who else? Mickey, Honorable Mickey. And Cup. Another apology. Honorable Uko is also in CAP. Okay, thank you. Let me bring to the attention of the House and to the committee that we are interrogating the Auditor General's report on the financial statement of Kisumu County Executive Financial Year 2023-2024. Adoption of the agenda, members. Honorable Molo, proposed. Honorable Were, seconded. I'm Honorable Ken Ouko, Chair, PICPAC County Assembly of Kisumu, MCA West, Kisumu Ward.
Good morning. My name is Tom Onditi, MC Ombei Ward and Vice Chair, PICPAC Committee. Thank you.
I'm Honorable James Ochengomolo. I represent West Nyakach Ward. I'm a member of this committee. Thank you.
I'm James Were, MC Nyalenda B Ward and a member of the committee.
Back to the Secretariat.
Austin Ochieng, Committee Clerk.
Very much, Chair. My name is Chris Oguta, Committee Clerk Assistant.
Weekly Forward, a member of the Secretariat.
Back to the Office of Auditor General.
My name is Samuel Chege from the Office of the Auditor General.
Kenya Moya from the office.
Barry Oula from the same office.
Thank you. Back to the Office of the Accounting Officers.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. My name is George Okong, the County Executive Committee member for Finance, Economic Planning, and ICT. As a team from the other arms of government who will also.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Martin Akodopio, the Acting Chief Officer of Finance, ICT Services.
Kindly, Attorney, do it through the for Hansard purpose.
Good morning once again. My name is Otieno Adwoka. I'm the County Attorney.
Good morning. I'm Sylvia Auma, Director Supply Chain.
Morning, everyone. I'm Maurice Sokot, Financial Reporting Accountant.
Administration of oath, agenda term.
I, Mr. George Omondi Okongo, do solemnly and sincerely swear that every word that I shall utter before the Public Accounts and Investment Committee is the truth and nothing but the truth, and that every statement and declarations that I shall make shall be made conscientiously, believing the same to be true and according to the oaths and statutory declarations. So help me God.
Thank you very much. May I confirm from the office of the clerk whether they got responses from the counting officers in time?
Thank you, Chairman. I confirm that we did get the responses in time. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to the office of the Auditor General. Maybe you can confirm to the committee that you got responses from the account.
Thank you, Chair. Confirm I confirm we received the responses.
Thank you. We had deliberated on some matters as a committee and agreed on the kind of questions to be asked. But maybe I can confirm. I got some call from somebody very senior in the county, not pertaining to this, but probably to allow Waziri to attend some function. Because he's the one to confirm. Waziri, could you please confirm if that is the position of your department so far?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it's true that you may have been called without my knowledge, but it is true that I would request very sincerely the committee allow me to leave at some point, actually as early as now, because we have some guests in the city being hosted by His Excellency. I'm required around them to help them. They are guests senior to all of us. We have to serve while they're here. So I really sincerely request the indulgence of the to allow me, but my team will remain so that they can respond to any other issues. If you allow me.
Before we allow or reject, we have been planning for this meeting for some time, and you understand you are aware very clearly that you are to appear. Why request for a leave again?
Mr. Chairman, the last time that I was meant to come, which was an official, we were all meant to come, it was an official request because of the appearance before Senate. And in fact, Mr. Chairman, when we went to Senate, the committee ended up receiving our written responses, I think because they were looking at the time view of the ruling that relates to 3 months. But this particular day, despite the 3 months and everything, I had dedicated to be here, except that what happened yesterday by the arrival of these guests and the team that we were supposed to take care of was not planned. We had planned this meeting much earlier, like you say, and I totally agree with you. What happened came up in last 2 days that we were told that these guests would be here today. So it was really an emergency. But I was still here. I was told to be here by the chief officer. Told me I was required here at 8, so I was here at 8. Fortunately, we can only start now. But the other team now waiting. That's why I said they could as well call you directly because I didn't want to appear to avoiding the call.
Thank you. I know you will be leaving. We'll be giving you opportunity to leave, not now, maybe after handling probably 2 or 3 questions. But we must bring to your attention that the Office of the Auditor General is not very happy with you, especially your office, in terms of responses. You always respond late. although you respond, but you respond late. I hope you also understand the constitutional timeline, which is we must adhere to. So the moment we are past that, obviously our reports are going to be invalid. So kindly please make sure that you always respond to audit queries on time. That will also give the committee time to deliberate on those issues. And again, now we make a conclusive result so far. That is very clear. Maybe, Waziri, before you leave, there are some which we were expecting that you would handle. We are going to handle question 22. Unexplained voided if means transactions. That is under lawfulness. I don't know. Let's see. We are going to give guidance again on the kind of question to handle. You can start back to the Office of the Auditor General.
Thank you, Chair. This is a report of the Auditor General on County Executive of Kisumu for the year ended 30th June 2024.
Maybe Office of the Auditor. You can also give us the opinion of the data and what informs such kind of decisions. Then you get to the question. Thank you.
So the report on the financial statement generated a qualified opinion, which means that except for the few matters that were reported in the financial statements, there were some issues which we had differences, especially on the financial statement, that led to the qualified opinion.
Can proceed.
So this is a report on lawfulness and effectiveness of in the use of public resources, paragraph number 22, unexplained voided if missed transactions, analysis of the integrated financial management information system payment transaction revealed that 4,127 transactions valued at Kenya shillings 2,667,105,751 were avoided during the year under review. However, management did not provide supporting documents to the transaction by way of voided payment vouchers, requests to void, the National Treasury approvals, and exchequer requisition from the Controller of Budget. Further, reconciliation of voided payments to pending accounts payables and cancelled payments were not provided for audit review. In the circumstances, the propriety of the cancellation could not be confirmed.
Back to the accounting officers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and the Auditor General. Mr. Chairman, I'll read the responses submitted to the Assembly and perhaps explain after that if need be. The voided if missed transactions amounting to 105,751 were due to budget underperformance. These transactions, which had reached the internet banking stage, were voided to clear the system as per the National Treasury guidelines and facilitate the uploading of the new budget for the 2024-2025 financial year. The voided payments were listed under payables and constituted the first charge in the following financial year. Therefore, the accuracy and completeness of the reported total payments remain intact as the obligations were appropriately carried forward and settled in the subsequent year. So, Chairman, that is our written response.
Okay, sir, you will expand if given. Back to the data.
Thank you, Chair. The review of those voided transactions indicated that there were some commitments which were done in the second quarter. So our concern is that there were commitments in the second quarter. It's not clear to us and it's not justifiable why these payments were not paid on time that led to the voiding of these transactions. This high number of voided transactions, as you can see, amounting to 2 billion, is a clear indication of weaknesses in payment processes, where the management should prioritize the earlier committed transactions for them to be cleared within the end of the financial year.
Back to the accounting officers.
So, Chairman, we can understand the position taken by the Auditor General in terms of prioritization of payments and completing payments before the end of the financial year. So, Chairman, the only thing that we need to add to that position is the reality of the disbursements to the counties. If everything were happening according to plan, that is to say that all disbursements were coming to the counties on time, then the argument or the advisory of the Auditor General would stand. But in the situation in which we operate, where disbursements are delayed by 2 to 3 months, even as we speak here today, is the 11th of April, and the county government has only received disbursements up to the month of January. We have not received disbursements for February, we have not received disbursements for March, we have not received disbursements for April. So what happens is we continue to process these payments to internet banking in the hope that the money will come. When we cross the financial year and the money has not arrived, and we are told the money will come in the new financial year, then, like we have explained in our written reply, you have to clear what you have in internet banking, what is called the window. You have to clear all of that, void all those transactions, so that you can upload a new budget and start afresh. So the first reason is the delayed disbursement. I agree with the Auditor General that even if, when the money comes, you still might not pay everything that you voided, which means it now goes into the question of budget underperformance. It means that you now find that you processed more than the money you actually had, even when all the money has come. And that is sometimes because the revenues you may have estimated, not all of it came through. So that part that you cannot pay for, even after the money has come, now becomes pending bills. So the solution to that, which the National Treasury is trying to implement, is that we are going to be allowed, counties will only be allowed to take to IB what they can pay any one time. So that, I think my chief officer will expand what is being done by National Treasury. They're saying this voiding things the question of voiding items in IB across the board in all counties is a problem. So we will only be allowed to take to IB items for which we already have cash. So if we have 20 million shillings in our CRF, we will only take to IB 20 million shillings. If we have 100 million, we'll only take to IB 100 million. That will be the solution, so that at no time you have more items in your IB that are ready to be paid, no money to pay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And probably before I give members, How does that protect the interests of small suppliers and public contractors? Are they unfortunate in one way or the other?
Mr. Chairman, that does not necessarily infringe on the interest, but it calls for overall an improvement in the way we do budget execution. Other than just dealing with it at the payment stage where the National Treasury has intervened to allow us to export to IB only things that we are ready to pay, we are also called upon to prepare very realistic budgets. But because the budget cannot be 100% realistic, during budget execution, become as realistic as possible with the commitments that we are making. So we are going to be required to continue using internal controls to control expenditure so that when you don't have money and you don't foresee it coming, you don't make a commitment. That will mean that even though we might pass a budget, it has everything, but especially the recurrent side, because the development side is usually controlled by law. But the recurrent side, the consumptions in government will have to be controlled so that you don't commit what you don't have. So the payment is one wing, but the bulk of the work is with us. If we succeed, and we hope to succeed, in controlling our expenditure and living within our means, then there is no way it will affect the small contractor. In fact, it will be good for the small contractor that for once, you will be 100% sure that the LSO that you hold from the county government is actually money will be paid. So we would rather very few people get county government LSOs, which they can take to the bank and get a loan because it's guaranteed, than so many people walking around with county government LSOs that will not become money. I think the latter position is better, the former position. So the small contractor who manages to get an LSO will be assured of money, rather than too many people carrying LSOs, they won't get money anymore.
Waziri, when is this coming? It's quite sweet for me to hear.
We are required to clear IB, is it by 17th of April? By 18th of April, which is next week. After that, that's the deadline for all counties, not just us. After that, there will be no exportation to IB that is not backed by money.
Honorable James.
Thank you, Chair. I've listened to Waziri, and I'm just wondering why, when such occurrences have been executed by you, voiding all the invoices or the payments at the IB, now, with the amount huge as 2 billion, let's say, from the auditor's report, how do you consider who now to pay afresh when we close the financial year? Because maybe in normal circumstances, there are people who went there before others in terms of putting them in the system. So once we voided them, everyone starts from zero, everybody. So how do you determine now who this one goes before the other? Thank you.
Back to the county officer.
Mr. Chairman, two things happen. Ideally, once a payment was not made in the previous financial year and it crosses over into the next financial year, it's a pending bill. And by the guidelines we have for the payment of pending bills, the payment of pending bills is to be done on a first in, first out basis. That's when it becomes really unfair to the contractor, in the sense that this is somebody who was about to be paid the previous financial year. But now, going by the first in, first out basis, should be the last one to be paid, because now we go to the previous years. That is why sometimes we negotiate with the control of budgets, especially where the disbursement for the month of June was not received until the turn of the financial year. When we explain ourselves to the control of budget and say, look, we planned to pay, that's why they were at IB, but this disbursement was late. Then the control of budget allows us, again, this is done by all counties, not just us, done by the COG level. The control of budget allows us to pay the ones that we voided first, because they understand that we wanted to pay and it was because of a delayed disbursement. Otherwise, if it were not for that intervention by the COG, what would happen is that they will now be pending bills and they will be the last ones to be paid. And that's why it must be avoided, because the implication is grave to a contractor. If we can avoid it entirely, it will be good. And I think, like I said, the move taken by the National Treasury will make sure that there's nothing like that moving forward.
Any member? So, according to the conditions so far available with the COBs, the requirements and putting down structures required to protect everybody, the matter is not resolved due to some circumstances, possibly not really until then. So we expect the best. You are making a good move, maybe within the system. You see that everybody's interest. Wherever you do any kind of work in the county, now your interest is going to be catered for. It is a loophole which cannot be covered by the counties unless done unilaterally for the whole counties and the national government. We give you one more question, number 4. Number 4, regular payment to machine-based staff allowances. It is also under lawfulness.
Thank you, Chair. Paragraph number 4 under report on lawfulness and effectiveness in the use of public resources. Irregular payment to machine-based staff allowances. The statement of receipts and payment reflect transfers to other government entities of Kenya shillings 1,419,154,196 as disclosed in note 4 to the financial statement. Included in the amount is the capital grants and transfers of Kenya shillings 596,098,258, out of which Kenya shillings 2,384,450 was paid in respect to machine-based staff allowances. However, justification on why staff were getting extra payments for performing their normal duties within their workstation was not provided contrary to Section 162 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, which requires a public officer to ensure the resources within the officer's area of responsibilities are used in a way that is lawful and authorized, effective, efficient, economic, and transparent. In the circumstances, the irregularity, the machine-based staff allowances of Kenya shillings 2,384,450 could not be confirmed.
Back to the accounting officers.
The machine-based lunch allowance of 2,384,450 shillings was paid to staff engaged in machine-based road projects while working away from their designated workstations. All the public works technical staff are officially stationed at the Public Works Department Bandani main office. The expenditure is supported by relevant documentation, including the annexes named, which outlines the work plan and project implementation timelines. Annex 15B details the budget breakdown that includes 6 million Kenya shillings allocation for logistics, such as lunch allowances. Annex 15C provides a progress report on the ongoing machine-based roads project, and 15D illustrates the work schedules of the staff. Thank you, Mr.
Back to the auditors.
Thank you, Chair. From the documents that were provided as support, we have the budget as well as the works that were carried out by these members of staff. And from our end, we comment that the expenditure on the meal allowances is and still remains irregular, since these are members of the county and they are under payroll. The allowances also were not commensurate within their job groups as required by SRC. So our recommendation is that the management should strictly adhere to the SRC guidelines who offer policy on the payment of these staff allowances.
Do you have something to say?
Mr. Chairman, I will not really reply beyond what I've said to the auditor. The truth of the matter is that this is the response we have from the sector that spent this money. But if indeed it is established that allowances were in the first place not deserved by virtue of the SRC provisions, then nothing will stop us from the Treasury from recovering the excess payments. Our understanding is that lunch allowances is within the benefits of staff, but I have heard the auditor say that the rates that were applied, which is actually not in the body of the query, but the auditor has said the rates that were applied were not commensurate to the job groups. If we establish that by direction from this House, I can assure you there will be recoveries from people's salaries. It's just that that matter was not in the query itself. If this report, the report of this House, says we look into the rates, then we look into the rates and excessive payments will be recovered.
Members, Honorable Umolo.
Yeah, thank you. I think from the submission, I don't know if there are rate cards for each job group, just like per diem. If a staff or the AI holder pays more per diem to person of job group X, then is really liable to recover from the same. So if there are rate cards, which means the expenditure is legal. So if at all somebody paid more than what should have been paid, then the recovery starts immediately. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Okumu.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think on this one, it's hard to keep quiet. And Waziri CECM Finance knows how we have struggled with making sure that machine-based program works. And this has been a pet project for the governor to reduce the cost of making our roads. But Chair, from that audit query, if you see members of staff paying themselves lunch allowances, then we wonder what's our priority. And I'm still looking at the attachments, and I'm yet to find the list of those who were paid, so that we ascertain that they was paid out of their working area. Waziri knows very well that we have our engineers that are attached to different sub-counties. I know we have an engineer for East Seme, we have an engineer for Kisumu Central, we have an engineer for Nyakach, we have an engineer for Moroni. So by the fact that they have a central office at Public Works of the old airport road, does not mean that when he's working in Seme, then he needs to be paid lunch allowance. And if that is so, then ordinarily, then they need to be paid allowance every day because they leave that office. Because from that explanation is that their office is at Public Works. And if somebody is at Public Works and works in Seme, and when it comes to machine-based, he's paid lunch allowance, then when it comes to his other works, he's not paid lunch allowance, then there is conflict. I think people just found easy money to spend, and they decided to spend it. And on this one, I want to go with the recommendation by the Office of the Auditor General that the CECM Finance take it upon himself to recover this money from these officers. And if he cannot, then he needs to provide proof that it's true an engineer from Seme just being stationed at public works needs to be paid lunch allowance, not only for machine-based, but for any other works that he does in SEM. Thank you, Chair.
Do you have any member with anything to say? We have to confirm really. At times it's quite funny. The department is messing up, and when we are doing our executive report, it is Waziri to answer. Waziri, that we should not allow. Because there was a proposal at one point that every department be audited on its own. I don't know how far it has gone. But here is a case where somebody is messing up the system from the ground and coming up to be protected by your office. That one, no. And okay, so before I...
Chair, the question here is that I think the auditors they're trying to explain that this is illegal. And from the Waziri, seems it is legal because there is a red card. So that was my point, that if at all the red cards are there and they were paid beyond, then it is legal. If at all there is no red card for this lunch, whatever, then it is illegal. So once it is illegal, we recover the entire money from the officers who took it. If it is legal, then we only recover what was paid beyond the legal rate. Thank you.
I think that it's very clear. We will make a determination on that when we are doing our reports to support the recovery. So far, we must recover back the illegal payments. That is very clear. Waziri, you are to give us somebody who will stand in for you?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I've just been told, but the Chief Officer of Finance is here, Mr. Martin Okode, who will be able to take the rest of the questions. And he has a whole team, which includes the county attorney.
We are giving you opportunity to probably attend to some others, but we expect you to be back. Thank you. Thank you. Martin, we have to confirm that you are under oath. You are aware you are under oath by extension. So, yes.
Yeah, could we see the list of those who were paid lunch allowance?
That is a request. Do you have that list of those you paid?
Again, Mr. Chair, you know there are two issues here arising from this. Number one, there are issues whether there is the rate cap, whether people are paid beyond the rate cap or not. Then the other one, there are issues whether people who work in various stations, because as Mheshimiwa Kumu said, the fact that the office is in Bandani does not mean that those people work within Bandani. These people are, that is the central office, but these people are assigned to work in fields, Moroni, SEM, and the rest. So is that justified for somebody to get land allowance because he went to work in Moroni? For example, the engineer for Moroni is always in Moroni. He only comes to the Bandani office to do a few meetings, then always he works in there. That makes him qualified to get lunch allowance? So there are two issues here. Whether working outside Bandani office qualifies one to get lunch allowance, and whether there's red cap on the lunch allowance. Thank you.
Yeah, it is upon the House again now. Do you have any document to support that? The people, the employees who are paid. Maybe to confirm for the office auditor, were you provided with that kind of list? Or was it there really?
Yeah, the There were payment vouchers that we verified, and we can share the same with the management. We can provide the details. We can extract it from the management later.
But the management is here. We're only confirming with you whether you got one, but they are here. If they are here, that is why I was confirming from you. Paid list of those who are paid.
Okay, thank you, Chair. The list can be availed. The list is there, and that's why I think the auditor was able to observe that. So the list, we can avail the list. Yes, Assembly.
Okay. Honorable Mulo.
But Chair, looking at the annexes for the same query,
yes,
what they have attached is about roads which were done, how many kilometers, which vehicles were there, KCA, W, whatever. And the query was about, it is very exact, the query was about the payments or extra payments to staffs who are stationed at Bandani. That was the query. The attachments, all of them, I've checked, all of them are just about, in Nyakach we did this, so XYZ kilometers. So I don't know why it was very divergent. They gave us what we didn't ask. It was not about how many kilometers were opened in Kobura ward or whichever. It was about these staffs who qualified for this large allowance thing.
I think we should give them time to provide the list, unless we have some other things. Kumu, Honorable.
Chair, I totally agree. I think they just need to tell us how much time do they need, because if they have a list, they availed it to the Office of the Auditor General. I don't know why they don't have it in their file, because that's one of the things that they had when they were responding to the audit query. So I don't know what's hard for them to just provide us with the list right now. And Chair, I don't think it's right for them. We ask questions, then they ask their own question and answer. We ask questions about lunch allowance. They answer question about how many kilometers are done and how many lorries were repaired. And it makes me wonder if the Chief Officer Finance, it makes me wonder, because I've always believed in the ability of the Chief Officer Finance. If you ask question about the area of Asaku, and then you start finding the not even the area, but you start answering about the length of a road. It's interesting. And I think, Chair, I think you can give him the shortest time possible to provide for us the list, because we want to finish with that. We know who was paid, how much they were paid, if it's true, the claims of the Auditor General that they were paid in excess, and the justification that they've given that they were working outside their station, so that the question can be resolved or not.
Chief, maybe if we can we get the documents by Monday?
Yes, Chair, we can avail the document by Monday. But let me just make this comment, Chair. Maybe in our response, we will not only attach the list of those who are paid, but we are able to demonstrate that indeed these people are working outside their workstation by outlining the work they did and the specific areas in which those activities took place. And also, we're also able to demonstrate that indeed this payment was provided for in the budget. So we will avail the list. And from the list, we'll be able to tell probably if there was any payment that was made beyond what is provided for in the law, which can necessitate the recovery. And if the law supports that, then with your, I know the committee will be able to make a deliberation of that.
Order, honorable members. I think we need the document by Monday to verify, and we'll also verify along the auditors. It is very clear. You fully paid. Do you work in the Department of Roads? It is upon them. Don't carry the cross which is not yours. Let them, we have them, we can call them here and they will have to justify the documents. So once you are given an opportunity to pay and they have the documents, you pay. But if we realize there's a problem, we go for that problem. So you can't defend really another department. You will not be in a position. You see the several hands coming up because of that. You know, the chair has ruled. We will have opportunity to go over those issues again. Don't worry. Next question. First question. Number 5. Irregularities in procurement. Next question after question 4.
Paragraph number 5. Irregularities on procurement. The county executive awarded various contracts in respect of provision of services. However, the following anomalies were observed. 1. Review of records revealed that a payment of Kenya shillings 928,000 and Kenya shillings 2,699,235 were made for provision of documentary services for the state of county address by the governor and provision of event management services for 2023 finance bill public participation respectively. However, the procurement was conducted outside IFMIS contrary to regulation 49.2 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Regulations 2020. Further, during the public participation, it was noted that the service provider made partial deliveries as evidenced by the items in the LSOs which did not match with the delivery note. The Inspection and Acceptance Committee report did not contain details of the services provided. Additionally, approved supplementary budget for advertising and publicity of Kenya shillings 500 million resorted to excess expenditure of Kenya shillings 2,199,235. Number 2, review of the payment voucher number 863988 revealed that amounting to Kenya shillings 2,998,500 for event management and logistic support for the county public stakeholder feedback revealed that the tender was awarded using request for proposal. However, review of the minutes of evaluation committee held on 1st February 2024 indicated that the committee did not carry out preliminary and financial evaluation as per Regulation 74(1) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Regulations 2020. The basis of the professional opinion and recommendation to the accounting officer of February 2024 could not be confirmed. In addition, no documentary evidence to show appointment of evaluation committee and market survey were provided for audit. Number 3, during the year under review, management made a payment of Kenya shillings 2,998,780 for provision of catering services during the World Food Day and World Rabies Day. However, the evaluation report and the invoices were dated 10th August 2023 and 30th August 2023 respectively, while the requisition to procure was dated 7th September 2023. The record suggested that the due process was not followed in the procurement, as requisition to procure came after delivery of the services contrary to Regulation 71(1) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Regulations 2020. Further, documentary evidence confirmed the receipts of goods and services, including the inspection and acceptance report in accordance with Section 48 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015, were also not provided. Number 4, management paid Kenya shillings 2,996,800 for inspectorate uniforms and Kenya shillings 2,307,424 for office stationery supplies. However, both deliveries were made beyond whom supplier was not among registered suppliers. In the circumstances, management was in breach of the law.
Back to the accounting officers.
Thank you, Chair. In response to query Roman 1, the procurement of the documentary services and event management for the 2023 Finance Bill, public participation was conducted outside IFMIS due to the delay in uploading the approved budget for the financial year 2023-2024 into the system, which prevented initiation of procurement through IFMIS. However, approval for the procurement was sought from the CECM Finance to ensure compliance and continuity of essential county functions. Despite this, the services were fully delivered as per the local service order, and the public participation exercise was successfully conducted to the county satisfaction. Moving forward, measures will be taken to ensure timely budget uploads in IFMIS to facilitate system-based procurement processes. Payment of Kenya shillings 2,699,235 in respect to event management services for 2023 Finance Bill public participation was charged under catering services, which had a budget of Kenya shillings 8 million, contrary to the audit observation. The expenditure, therefore, was within the budget as per the attached approved budget estimate, extract annexed Annex 16 on page 375 to 383. Respond to the second query. Management procurement for event management and logistical support followed the request for quotation method as per the law, with the evaluation committee conducting the required preliminary and financial evaluations as confirmed in the minutes submitted to the Auditor General. The professional opinion to the accounting officer was based on these evaluations, and evidence of the committee's appointment has been provided. A market survey was conducted by obtaining quotations from other service providers, ensuring compliance with procurement regulations. All supporting documents, including evaluations minute, appointment letters, and market survey report, have been submitted for audit verification. That's on Annex 17 from page 384 to page 391. On
Chair, on a point of order, I request that we could individually so that he doesn't respond to all the questions raised. So, like he has finished his response to the first question, then we can handle that first. Thank you, Chair.
Roman 1, I think we should handle Roman 1 first, then we go to Roman 2 that way. That will not will make members actually capture the issues. So you have answered question 1, maybe back to the Roman 1, back to the data.
Share the procurement of documentary services for state or county address was and still remains conducted outside the IFMIS system, which is a statement of fact, and it was against the public procurement and asset and disposal regulations of 2020.
Back, officer.
Thank you, Chair. Just as we have outlined in our response, this was a critical activity of the county, and it came at a time when we had not uploaded our budget into IFMIS. And by the fact that we had not uploaded our budget into IFMIS, it was impossible to process this thing in the system. But we went further and seek for authority from the CECM Finance, who approved it so that it can be conducted outside the IFMIS. So, Chair, because if we could have delayed this, it could have a very bad impact on the image of the country, being this was a very critical event of the county. Thank you, Chair.
In such cases, what is expected of you? If you want to go with the law, what do you do?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I have my Director of Procurement here, who is a technical person in that area, and I can donate to her to respond to that appropriately.
Yeah, you are given the opportunity to do that. Who is it? Who is that expert in procurement and
Yes, thank you once again. In such a scenario, what needs to be done, because this one was already done, but going forward, what needs to be done, when a directorate realizes that there's an activity that is supposed to be done when the budget has not been uploaded, then they ought to start this process earlier when the IFMIS system is still working, so that they procure everything and just wait for the time to reach so that the activity can be implemented, so that we are there with the law.
you know these officers who are going against the law? That is your department. And that is why you are here. Who are they? Because they must be disciplined. Who are these officers? Remember, you are under oath by extension.
For that one, because I don't know how to respond to it, because
you don't set your answers. You don't set the way you want to answer issues before the committee. Be very precise and clear. Who are these officers? You are brought here as an expert.
yes, the person who executed the process, that is the former director supply chain, should be held accountable.
Chair, I think with regards to budget being uploaded in the IFMIS, that I can't blame the department. I know there's usually been delay. I've never known who does that delay. Maybe CFO will let us know. But I know there's always been a delay, and I believe that's still their role, uploading the budget to the IFMIS. But most of the time we pass this budget before the end of June. It takes some time for it to be uploaded. But Chair, there are, I think, three questions in that question. One, it was on the LSO that did not match the delivery notes. I'm yet to see the response to that. The LSO that they gave the contractor and the delivery notes that are in the office for that job do not match. What he delivered is different with what he was told to bring. I'm yet to get that answer. Then two is the excess expenditure. And I don't know who is telling us the truth, because the Office of the Auditor General is saying that they've spent 500,000 in excess of the budget for publicity, advertising and publicity. But they are saying that they charged it in a vote item, I don't know, of 8 million. So according to the Office of the Auditor General, that budget was, I think, 2.2 million or something, and they spent 2.699. No, the budget was 2,199,235, and they spent 2,699,235. I just want to know that clear. Who is telling us the truth? Thank you, Chair.
Back to the supply chain.
To that, during the time that this activity was being done, when I was interrogating with the file, we find that in the budget, the person who put the budget in the said file highlighted the component of advertisement. But you see, the work was supposed to be, it was an event management and not advertisement. So in the event management, the amount was 8 million and not 500,000.
Yeah, then where did the auditor get the excesses? Because I believe 2.69 is not in excess of 8 million.
Maybe you are confirming that the auditor is lying to the committee?
Not as per se. What I'm trying to say is that the budget that was attached in the procurement file, whatever was the procurement officer highlighted was 500,000. But you see, the 500,000 that was highlighted was advertisement. But the activity itself was event management. And the activity was charged under event management, and the event management was 8 million. So it's not that the auditors were wrong. It's only that the budget that was attached in the file highlighted 500,000. That is why they caught it and said that the department used in excess of 2.9 instead of 500.
But Chair, up to this point, the Office of the Auditor General has not said that they found the right budget. Unless I didn't get it right. Because if they attached the wrong budget, and then now they have given the Office of the Auditor in this response the right budget, then it should mention that we got the right budget, and now that excess that we were talking about is not applicable.
If you see Annex 385, it's 383, page 383. From page 379 to 383, we have highlighted the amount. It's 8 million.
Was it part of the response?
Yes.
So, could you please answer the question of the auditor? The concern of the auditor. Auditor had a concern, which is validly put in the answers. In their questions. What brings the difference? You are trying to say you had all that which was approved, you went through this, and auditors are questioning this. Why? If you provided the right documents, why is auditor questioning all this?
This response is given after the management. After them raising the query, now we are doing a response.
Maybe back to the auditors.
Yeah, when we are checking the procurement activities, we collaborate both procurement plan as well as the budget provided. And that notwithstanding, page 383, the item that the procurement officer is talking about on publishing and printing has an estimate of 13,800,000 and not 8 million. But for clarity, our figure came from the procurement plan, which clearly indicates that activities budget. Thank you.
Respond to that. Then you sum it up with the responses you are giving.
It's only that the procurement plan is not attached here, but I believe that the procurement plan should be 8 million. So that procurement plan needs to be also attached.
Is it the auditors to attach it or you? Because that is your response. And you start with the procurement plan. How then you ignore the procurement plan, then you attach some others? Because that is your response. That is not a response of the data.
I just ask that by Monday we'll provide it because it is there. I think maybe in the process of putting this annex, just because there are quite a number, then it was omitted, but it is there.
But now you agree that you are doing so bad in terms of responses. I had highlighted that with the Waziri when he was here, especially to the office of the data. They have even written a letter to the assembly to confirm that you are not doing things at the right time. You are always delaying. When they ask you for the responses, you don't respond. There's a letter here so that we deal with you. You know, we are the oversight body, the primary oversight body for the counties is the assembly. They have done a letter here. So now, you see, despite the fact that we were extending time for you people, you could not attach some of your very vital documents because we would have just compared. Then we move. But now you are dragging us back again. Chief.
Chairman.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Chair, I just want to make a small clarification on that budget line. They highlighted budget line for printing, publishing and printing of 13.8 million. This must be an error. As per our response, we have categorically stated that the finance bill public quotation was charged under catering services which had a budget of Kenya shillings 8 million. And if you go to the fourth item from down, you'll see the code, the budget code 221081 for catering services. It has that actual amount of 8 million. So we are sorry for that, Chair. The highlight was a bit misleading.
The error then?
That's why I'm making that apology.
Which error? You have an error? You attach?
No, not an error. The highlight is a bit misleading, but we ought to have highlighted the catering services vote, which is 8 million, and correspond to our response.
But did you have the exit meeting with auditors? Did you have the exit meeting with auditors?
Yes, we had the exit meeting with the auditor.
No, not really. You have several officers with you. I don't think you had such kind of meeting. Deputy?
Chief, you know, after the entry meeting with the auditor, you have the exit meeting, and then the final meeting is this one with the assembly. These are two meetings that provide you with the opportunity to provide additional documents that were highlighted by the auditor during your entry meeting and they were not available. Even as you promised to provide some of these documents on Monday, and here you are coming, still you don't have them. And that's what the chair said. It's seeming like you didn't have an exit meeting with the auditor, because ordinarily you would have provided these things after the auditor had highlighted them, but you didn't have them or you didn't file them during your entry meeting with the auditors. Now, even your exit meeting, which you claim to have had, you never provided them. And again, here today, you don't have them. Is it really true that you had an exit meeting with the auditor?
Chief, for the sake of confirmation and the answered purpose.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Chief, the question is very clear. Did you have the exit meeting with the auditor? Just resume your seat. Just resume your seat. Chief, resume your seat. You know, we really want to work without any problem, especially with the Office of the Auditor, with the Office of the County Assembly, and with the Executive. We really don't want to have any problem because the main focus is wananchi. I don't think the auditors are coming to lynch or to do such kind of thing to anybody, even the assembly itself. We want accountability which belongs to the people. We represent the interests of the people. They are also representing the interests of the Serikali. And you also have you are given the mandate to execute very important duties. So the moment you ignore the assembly, you are in a problem. The moment you ignore the Office of the Auditor, you will be in a problem. We would really like that you, Executive, respect the Office of the Auditor General. If you don't do that, then you will be in problems. Things which we should have actually harmonized before will not harmonize. And it will appear that there is somebody who is scheming to get some illegal proceeds from the government. And that is our work now, to see that it is done. So the moment you don't work very closely with the Office of the Auditor, it is going to be a problem. Because you have the entry meeting, they actually explain everything, what they want from you. It is upon you now to give them. If you can't give them, probably you also have another window in the exit meeting to provide them. You are also given another window again to come and present them here. Now, the moment you don't do that and you present them here, we'll ask the Office of the Auditor what happened, and they will explain very clearly what happened. Because I don't think they are here to lynch anybody, but to help and to execute their duty. That is very clear. So kindly please respect the Office of the Auditor, because we have constitutional timelines which we must adhere to, the 3 months. If you fail to do that, it means we'll be out of order in terms of submissions of responses and that. And it is always advisable that you first appear here before going to the Senate, because you will be using our report when you are defending yourself to the Senate. But if you go to the Senate, you leave the Assembly, because you did not go to the auditor in time, you did not write responses to the Assembly in time, we will be in mess, complete mess, really. And these things will haunt you. when time comes. Because obviously, tutaandika tu report yetu, we'll go with our report that somebody was scheming to do this because of that. We have evidence, 1, 2, it was not provided, supporting documents were not provided. But with assembly, it is not like the Senate. You have the opportunity, we can even give you, see now we are giving you Monday. We can give you Monday. With the Senate, they can't give you Monday. So it's better you deal with the assembly and the auditor from Kisumu office than dealing with the national. It is very unsafe for you people. This is a warning to the executive. Kindly please respect the office of the auditor. The attorney is here. One attorney, are you getting instructions very clearly from the assembly? If you don't respect the office of the auditor, you are going to be in a total mess. Even if you come to the assembly, because we work from, they are the prosecutors of every case. When you go to Nairobi, you will be meeting Chege in Nairobi. And now you will be quarreling Chege like the other time somebody was quarreling him. But not because of anything, it is because of failing to adhere to what is expected. Yeah. So kindly please, I'm stressing that because it has been an issue and they have written a letter here to complain against you people. Attorney, you are getting it very clear. At least they never wanted to expound it so much that now it's going to be an issue. But they made the first step to make sure that we work on you people. So kindly please respect the office of the auditor. I'm repeating that for purpose. So if we are giving you a window, kindly please present the required document on Monday so that we verify what is happening before we go for our report writing. Roman 2. Roman 2, the accounting officer to respond. Kindly respond again so that we...
Roman 2, the procurement for event management and logistical support followed the request for quotation method as per the law, with the evaluation committee conducting the required preliminary and financial evaluations as confirmed in the minutes submitted to the Auditor General. The professional opinion to the accounting officer was based on these evaluations, and evidence of committee's appointment has been provided. A market survey was conducted by obtaining quotations from other service providers, ensuring compliance with procurement regulations. All supporting documents, including evaluation minutes, appointment letters, and market survey reports, have been submitted for audit verification.
That goes back to the auditors.
Thank you, Chair. On the part of the appointment of the evaluation committee, that was provided to us. It's on page 384. However, the completeness of the evaluation minutes cannot be confirmed because the evaluation minutes that are attached only provided evidence of financial evaluation. So for preliminary and technical evaluation, that one has not been provided. Then we have the market survey. That one has not been provided. So the only issue which we confirm we received evidence is on the appointment of evaluation committee. Thank you, Chair.
Back to the accounting officers, if you have something to say.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, if you check in the document on page 380, 384. We have the evidence of the appointment of the committee, which the auditor indeed has confirmed. Page 385, we have the minute of the evaluation committee, the recommendation. And page 390 and 391, we have attached the market survey report. A summary of the market survey for the supply and the delivery of motor vehicle tires.
Ms. Auditor, you have something to say? Members? Yeah, Honorable James.
Page 390. This is the market survey report. I'm really looking for the date, so that we ascertain as at that period that the committee was sitting, they already had it. They sat on, their date of sitting was on 5th September at 2 p.m. This market survey report, I'm really struggling to get the date, and so that we can match it. So the query was about this report.
What date? The document is here, but it is not dated. What was happening? What was happening? Somebody was doing something funny, or there was an abundant officer in charge of procurement is also here.
Yeah, if you allow me, let me donate some. Let me pass it over to the director to explain to you this document. Yes.
Is it page 390? Director, you have nothing to say?
For the market survey that is attached, I think it's for another query, not for the catering services. Yes. No.
Where is that one for this query? The market survey for this query?
Through Chair, I may just have a caveat that answering somebody's audit query becomes very difficult. I'm just fumbling to make things right, but I just want to bring to your attention that when these things were being done, I was not in the office. So I'm just trying to give a response of what is needed.
Okay. Just resume your seat. County Attorney has just admitted that says incompetent. Hawezi hiyo kazi. Ngoja ukishindwa, si unasema umeshindwa. That is what the lady is trying to say.
That is what
answering audit queries, because that is part of your duty.
I don't think that is true, sir. What I'm trying to say is that
I've not given you the opportunity to talk. You know, when you talk, it is now an exchange, not a. When you say answering audit queries is difficult, and you are the person who will be answering matters on procurement and all those. And now, what do we do? Now, see, we just Okumu, Honorable Kumi.
Yeah, sorry, I'm working out a lot. I'm also, you know what honorable members go through. Yeah, I'm looking at the market survey reports. And one is market survey report of delivery of motor vehicle. The other one is supply and delivery of motor vehicle tires. And I think it was supposed to end in 391. So I'm looking at that market survey report that they're talking about. I'm yet to see it amongst the documents that they're talking about. And just sometimes I think that maybe they thought because this document is big, we cannot ascertain some of those things that they're talking about. Because the market survey report that the auditor was interested in is not among those that they provided. If I'm wrong, I think they can confirm. We are not talking about tires in this audit query, neither are we talking about vehicles.
I was delegated to the supply chain director, and she has just confirmed something here very funny while you were away. I think you should just withdraw, then you make a proper statement so that you be safe.
Yes, let me withdraw the statement. But what I'm trying to say is that the market survey that is touched answers another audit query. There's an audit query that is asking for a market survey for market. So the market survey for the catering is not attached.
I have not given you the.
You know,
I have not given you the floor. Okay, Honorable Molo.
You know, they
kindly
gave us,
resume. Just resume your seat.
They gave us the pages. So I just went to the page 390 and 391 without checking the contents on the same matter we were talking about. But my point was the date. Only to realize even the content is not what we are talking about. And then, if that is the case, Chair, then where is the one we are talking about? If this one answers another audit query, which we will also answer the date when we come to that question. So where is this one for this one, for this case?
So, you know, sometimes, again, I'll repeat this. I see the people who are before me, and I have always believed in their ability. But when they come before the house, I now start doubting them. Martin, you can't make reference to pages and only realize with us that the document that you are making reference to are different. A document that was brought by yourself. We didn't make it. You come up to the house, you even insist on those pages. We go to those pages, we find documents that are different. And you agree that the one that we are supposed to get here is not attached. And it was the one that was in the audit query. Chair, what are they taking us for? How many questions are we going to go to? We are making reference to documents that they didn't attach, so that we know early and don't waste time. Because if this is the trend we are going with, then it seems everything about this document is not true. This is the second incident that is happening on the same document that they brought before us, referring us to a page and to a document that they knew is not there. And they are realizing with us right now, Chair.
Honorable member, that is your last time. Stop popping out of the house and inside each and every time. You are spoiling the game. Honorable Millicent.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm just standing to defend my colleague. You know, our elections are taking place today, and the number of things that is supposed to put in order. Thank you so much.
We did ours the other day. Thank you. Chair, you see, the query is about market survey report for this item, for this query. We were referred to a page which is incorrect. I just want to get the correct page where this market survey is, and the issue of the evaluation committee appointment, which I have seen. No, the appointment I think was cutting across all other queries which are beyond this one. That one is there. But now market survey for this specific catering and what services. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, sometimes when you look at this thing, sometimes you wonder whether indeed the accounting officers had an exit meeting with the auditor. Because otherwise, some of these things we are struggling to find out would have been sorted out during the exit meeting. And again, it's so surprising that somebody can reference a wrong document. And you wonder how many such wrong document that will be referenced to, because the document is too big. And sometimes you wonder whether you can be tempted to make a wrong misconception that the document is big and sometimes what for intimidating people, knowing that we will not have all the time to run through the documents. Otherwise, I stand guided, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
So are somehow disappointed to an extent, but you have to understand that this is the reason why you have to appear before the assembly first. Imagine going to the Senate with this kind of, what kind of embarrassment? It's better you embarrass yourself here first before you go up, because we will identify, actually we are very thorough in this thing, but we will identify where the problem is, then now you can provide such kind of document, then you redo your report accordingly. You see? But when you run there, you go, when you are asked such kind of document, you will expose everything from Kisumu, which is quite unfortunate. And you know, we go there in solidarity with you people. We don't go there to fight you. We have never fought you when we go to the Senate. So kindly, please, we are, County Attorney, are you getting, I hope you are getting matters very clear. But before we move, we have a head of internal audit with us here. Why are you messing up the system and you are there? Why are you there then?
Thank you, Chair. You know, I always say that most of the questions that comes around is, where was the auditor? The presence of the auditor is not a panacea to prevent all errors and frauds in an. We have a role, strengthening internal control systems, of which this control does not even belong to us, it belongs to the auditees or our audit clients. We're only supposed to review. We also have our own challenges here, and even the auditors have queried the numbers of the audit staff that are in the county executive. 7 out of an expected number of 21. As much is given, much is expected. So even if you ask me some of these things, I also have a challenge. Not that we are weak, but we are very few in terms of numbers. Kisumu County is very big, over 11 departments, and even some semi-autonomous units. I know we don't have a county assembly, you have a different audit team. But for the executive, we need more numbers. Auditors have tried to help me. They have raised this year in and year out, and it's high time that the management takes this issue seriously. That oversight needs also adequate capacity in terms of staffing of internal audit and strengthening of internal audit committee, which is now in place, and it's going to work. The next financial year, I don't think we'll see this. In fact, we might even get an qualified opinion going by what we are seeing. We have improved. We started with disclaimers. 3 disclaimers, Chairman. We had so many adverse. We're almost getting PhD in adverse, let me say the truth. But again, the light at the end of the tunnel, now we have a qualified, which we are discussing. So we only need, as you have said, to embarrass ourselves here, as you have said, but not at the Senate. So we need to go down, comb on our responses, and see that we come up with a better document. Thank you, sir.
A very balanced response so far. But at the same time, if you are given, the advice by the auditor, internal auditor, if you don't do it, who is to be blamed? Because the internal auditor will not come up and start talking about, I gave them this advice, I gave them this, I told them about this, and they refuse. under what we call collective responsibility. They might not even talk about that. If they told you to do this, add us more officers, do this, that kind of things. But really, we have to work on that. County attorney is good, you are here. No, you are the focal point. I'm always referring to you so that you initiate. It is very important that we do that. Because this is the executive. This is the main arm of everything in the county. But if you are failing, and we find some facilities like Jaramogi getting unqualified reports, it's quite unfortunate. So who is the mother? Because a child is expected to behave like a mother, and the mother is behaving differently. The child is behaving good. Does it really, huyo pengine ni mtoto wa mtu mwingine, si mtoto wako? So we have to be very careful what we are doing. Roman 3, accounting officers to respond. You had read, you read it. Accounting officer to respond to Roman 3.
Thank you, Chair. Management acknowledged the audit issue regarding the procurement of catering services before proper requisitions and regret the error. This error was caused by a double requisition, which led to wrong requisition attached. Moving forward, we have strengthened internal control and mandatory documentations checklist that ensures complete accuracy in documentation. For catering services, inspection and acceptance report is not mandatory.
Back to the auditors.
Thank you, Chair. The issuance of the requisition after remains non-compliant, and by the management on admission, we confirm this provision of catering service.
From their response, they said it is not mandatory for them to provide that. Yeah. Maybe somebody is reinventing the wheel.
Probably I did not get clarity. It's not mandatory, but those documents that are listed, including requisition, acceptance, reports, those are part of support for the procurement process. Documents required.
Chief, supportive documents to absolve you from any doubt. You say it is not mandatory and it is required. How will you justify if the supportive documents are not there? And you talk about mandatory or not mandatory, and it is required by the auditor to confirm what is happening. Why? From your response, or what were you specifically? What were you referring to be not mandatory?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, majorly for catering services, and it's something that I want to believe that most of us know what catering services are. Here you have an event, and you have to appoint an inspection and acceptance committee to come and inspect how people are being served. Yeah, that's why we are saying, based on how we've been treating even the past similar procurement, it has never been mandatory that we have to provide the inspection and acceptance report. And even the auditor has gone through several files, even in the past, which we have dealt with the similar activity. They have never observed that.
Chief,
So
are you,
for
Chief,
this particular activity,
Chief, are you talking about the tradition or you are talking about the rule of law?
I'm just saying, just the way it has been a practice.
No.
But if it is mandatory, Chair,
No. Let me. Do you know PMF Act what it says? It is the guideline. It is very clear. It guides all how you must operate. It is very clear. If probably you left something last year, you can't. Maybe by grace of God it was not seen. But if it is seen this time, you can't say I've been doing that for all those years, even though it has known. We are talking about the law, and this committee is guided by the principle of law. Very clear. We don't go against anybody. We are just within the law. So when you are talking about the law, you are talking about catering services. If it is supplied, the services are supplied that what are expected, so that you justify those services were supplied or rendered. Really, if you can't justify and you talk, we know, you know about that. How, really? Mheshimiwa?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell him the same because one, the auditor is saying this is as per the PFM Act, and I think he mentioned the Act, and it is expressly saying so that we have to get this ABC in terms of that procurement. So maybe Chief should not justify that this is really exempted. For catering services, what I understand, people eat at an event for lunch or buffet, whatever it is. But I think this is, you are able to take photos. I don't know what they expect according to the Act. But if there is something in terms of evidentiary that this event happened, for example, I think that is really doable. It's not really rocket science to do. Thank you. Because I see in events we make photos. I was given money to go and procure food and have an event in a space. So it's really doable. Thank you.
Any member? So far the matter is not resolved. We jump to number 27. Back to the auditors.
Thank you, Chair. Construction of paragraph number 27, construction of governance residence. Management awarded a construction contract for the construction of the governor's residence, the cost of Kenya shillings 42,510,290 on that February 2023 for a period of 8 months. Project verification conducted in September 2024 revealed that the governor's residential building under phase 1 had been completed and occupied. However, the completion certificate and the inspection and acceptance report were not provided for audit. Further, the management awarded another construction company for a contract of Kenya shillings 48,483,827 in respect of phase 2, resulting in aggregated total cost of for the project of Kenya shillings 90,994,117. This was contrary to the Salaries and Remuneration Commission (SRC) issued circular number SRC/TSC/COG/661/48 volume 1164 dated 20th May 2019 on cost limits for governors residences set out at Kenya shillings 45 million. In the circumstances, the management was in breach of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission circular.
Back to the accounting officers.
Thank you, Chair. The initial phase of the construction completed complied with the SRC cap at a cost of 42 million. The contract was completed and the premise was occupied. Upon occupation, an assessment was done by the project management committee led by engineers from the Department of Public Works, and auxiliary works were required. Although the house was completed within the set ceilings, the county had to inject additional fund to meet the cost of the auxiliary work, which included security perimeter wall, driveways, office, gates, a swimming pool, water tank, landscaping, and construction of servant quarters, among other facilities.
Back to the auditors.
Thank you, Chair. Our comment is, although the constructions as per the management were necessary, the management should have sought express authority from SRC, and I think as a form of providing evidence for the completion of phase 1, management is supposed to provide completion, practical completion, certificate of practical completion of phase 1. On this matter, we seek guidance from the committee. Thank you.
Do you have something to expound? Before I give to members, if you have something to expound.
No, Chair, I have nothing addition to our response.
It will be generated by members. Members?
Chair, I tend to agree with the auditors because one, the auxiliary works is really exorbitant in terms of the ceiling that they were given of 45 million. These auxiliaries also to an extent of 40-something million extra. No, when we have a ceiling, the reason why they put ceiling is that so that we don't abuse how we execute some of these projects. Even right now, we have a ceiling to do the county assembly premises. The county assembly board cannot go beyond their means, and if in case they have to seek an extra additional funding from the same authority. So if at all there is no evidentiary in terms of requesting for extra funding for this, because Chair, auxiliary would mean we go up to some level. But I don't think if we were to build, then we spend the same, almost the same amount for auxiliary works. Really, that is not in order. We understand that our government have to be in a very nice resident. That one is okay. And as assembly members, we did appropriate for that. And until they give us very exact works which were really necessary beyond the means of SRC. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it's so ironical that you realize in this report that the auxiliary works cost higher than the main work. And because auxiliary works cost about 48 million, the second contract awarded. If that is what the response means, additional work, how possible, or how realistic is it that additional work costs more than the real work? And secondly, don't you think that it was important for you guys to seek approval from the SRC in case you realize there are important additional work that needed to have been done to make the residents of the governor be as comfortable as required? And that is not provided. We have the county attorney, who is the chief legal advisor to the county. Do you guys sought or seek the advice of the the legal advice or the legal implication of this thing from the county attorney before you guys decided to enter into a new contract or additional contract to provide auxiliary construction services to the residents of the governor. Thank you.
Chief. Imeenda mpaka 90.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chair, to respond to probably why the auxiliary work will cost more than the building. Now, Chair, I think it's not lost to all of us that if you go to the governor's compound, it is true that the house itself, it's within the ceilings provided by the SRC. But you cannot just allow the governor to live in an environment that is very, very unattractive and also insecure. So you must provide security to the governor. We must provide other amenities, including the ones that have been listed there: the security perimeter wall, the driveway, office, gate, swimming pool, water tank, landscaping, construction servant quarters, and others. So they might appear very small, but in terms of cost, if you aggregate all the cost of providing those additional services, it's what constitutes the 42. But in terms of house, I can guarantee you that we are within the ceilings that are provided. And the same case also applies to other counties. There are very many counties which this project
Can you
installed.
please restrict your questions to Kisumu County?
Yes, no, I'm just giving comparison, Chair, because
Why
it's
do you
also
compare?
good.
Why do you compare against the law? For one, you have gone against the law. That is one thing you have to accept.
Okay.
Because if you wanted more within whatever we wanted to do within the governor's quarters, it was within 45 million. So it was upon you people to make it within the BQ what is expected. You can't exaggerate the house and neglect the environment of which that house will stand. That is one thing. But if you wanted something again, you had to seek clarification from the SRCs, because these are pegged in law, very clear. You did not do that. That is one thing. How would you defend that? We know we love our governor, but you can't go against the law, because even the governor is not above the law. We can't go beyond that. This is why it comes as audit queries. Even the State House the other time, it was renovated at a cost. It appeared in the audit queries because it was against the law of the land. So you can't justify misusing some more fund. I say misusing because it is not justified. The same amount of money as the house? Really? Even if it is a matter of exaggerating issues? Really? Because we have also built houses. We know what it takes to make the environment. It can't be of the same cost as the house. Unless there must be something funny behind it. But really, even if that is the case, would you go to that extent? The same cost as the house? Really? And you justify? Honorable Millie?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I would like to know what was in the BQ of the governor's house. Because I know you cannot just build a house without a fence. And being a governor's residence, it must have a security room. And another question to CFO. We know very well that our governor must be protected and he must get the best environment to live in. Is it a must that if at all some additional things are being added, must it be exaggerated? Maybe it is a rule.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, let me take the chief the route he likes most, because the chief seems to be in love with the traditions and precedents more than the law. Chief, people, we all know the person of the state of the governor. And when somebody is sitting down to plan to construct a residence of a governor, I don't think this person is thinking in the mind of somebody constructing a single residential rooms in Obunga Estate, for example. What are the things you consider? Because you cannot construct a governor's residence even without thinking on how the governor will access that building. And here you guys, by demonstration of this report, you first of all thought about constructing the house, and that's when later you start thinking, how do we make the house of the governor secure and governor comfortable? So what was in this BQ? What was the thinking of the person designing this governor's residence in the first place, where we spent 42 million? Because it's like after occupation is when we realize the governor is insecure, the governor is uncomfortable. What were we thinking about the people who are designing this thing?
At times, you really bring us down. Now, how will you justify this when you go to the Senate? If you will be having a hard time in Senate, it's not going to be very easy. But I understand, for an head of internal audit, you have a lot of work, which is not that. But unfortunate. We are writing our report on by next week. But we would like to know the BQ, what it contained. The first BQ it contained, then the second BQ. Because I know the money was not just used without supportive document. We would like to see that, so that when we write our reports, we write a proper report that will also help you when you get to the Senate at one time. Or at one time when you are not in these offices, you could get the supportive document to show it was this way. Yeah. We would like to, when a chief, we have only one question which is going to the attorney, but through you, because you are the accounting officer, so you will hand over that question to him. 2.3, Roman 1. Page 8 in the bigger document, page 8. Back to the letters.
Report on financial statement, paragraph number 2.3, unsupported legal expenses. The expenditure includes payment amounting to Kenya shillings 93,645,292 in respect of other operating expenses. Included in the expenditure is an amount of Kenya shillings 46 million 78,251 paid to legal firms representing the county executive in various legal cases and providing legal consultancy. Review of the documents provided for audit revealed the following anomalies. 1. expenditure amounting to Kenya shillings 22,496,355 was not supported with documents such as listing of pending legal cases, outstanding legal fees per case, contract agreements, procurement records, stage of proceeding of each case, fees paid up to date per case, breakdown of legal fees in fees, notes and evidence of court attendance, rate as per advocate, remuneration, roll statement or ledgers of advocates' accounts, and case files showing the value of each case were not provided for audit.
Back to the accounting officers.
The expenditure of Kenya shillings 22,496,355 pertains to legal expenses paid following court decrees against the county, which were mandatory and not subject to procurement or contractual agreement. Supporting documentation, including the breakdown of pending legal fees per case, case statuses, and payment made, has been provided. These payments were based on enforceable court orders, and verifications were done using court documents and the treasury payment records. Moving forward, the county legal department will enhance documentation processes and maintain a comprehensive database to ensure transparency and facilitate future audits.
Back to the auditors.
Thank you, Chair. First, wish to comment that this issue of legal expenses has been a major issue for us, where we have not been getting appropriate documents which can be verified. And in regard to this, we have not been supported with the relevant documents. The management has to provide evidence of all expenses, decree orders and or judgments, status of payment, instructions from the attorney, and or fee notes, which we have not been provided. We clearly lack what we call on these matters of legal expenses. Thank you.
You have something to say? Attorney, do you have something to say?
Is one of those things that at the Senate again ask myself, how will you would have defended? In Roman 3, 4, and 5, questions there are attached to specific file cases, and we have not been asked about them for now. But in this particular one, the 22,495,355 is a block figure for which date we don't have the particulars of the files. I know the management responses looks generic, looks general, and answers in the whole, but I imagine that, you know, even if it passed here, other persons would ask me of the breakdown. I have at the initial time asked that you do favor us with the particular file numbers referred to. I'm told the communication came to you, but that happened. I would still pray that even in the small time available, you just lead us to which files were in contention, so that my answer is better than what I can say today. Nonetheless, yes, if there are questions on the general
Attorney, You refer to the office of the auditor?
Yes, we asked.
But it is the chair to do that, not the office of the auditor. You know, you can't talk to the office of the auditor directly. It's you to ask the chair to do that.
I'm sorry.
Why do you ignore the chair? Then you talk directly to.
Oh, my ignorance. Yes, I would certainly really plead with the chair that you make that communication, and in whatever small time available, I would give a better answer, including documentation if you so require. It's 22,495,000, but we don't know in respect to what, and so the management response still appears very good.
Can we say the cost of legal services in Kisumu County is higher? And what would be the reason for that?
Verily, I trust in the response that it is not higher. What we are dealing with are really historically unpaid debts, and wherever they come to the interpretation of legal fees, that includes the settlements. So it is not just fees. It is not just fees being paid to lawyers, but also the settlements that are inside it, or the awards that are inside. So one of them, the one that is in, is it 5? The one that is reflecting 174 million. I mean, that is high. That is high. But it is high because the NHC matters got to 1 billion shillings, and the way they taxed it, I think they taxed it at about 374 million, and it has the decree there. It has the decree in. It has the court decree in the appendixes. That is high, but it is high because of the amount of question in dispute. It was 1 billion plus.
Merci.
Chair, I don't know if I get the county attorney well, that is saying that he's not even satisfied with his own answer. Because the audit query is on 22,496,355, which was not supported. They had a lot of expenditure in that financial year, but there was a 22,496,355, which you didn't have support. How I wish you came here and told us in that financial year, we spent this and not this that they're talking about. Well, let's assume this is the whole money you spent in that financial year. And all you have done is given us a breakdown of all the cases that we're having in the county, if I got you right, which is not what was asked. But you've given us some. The question has so many things. Even the ones that you've listed here, you were supposed to bring for us some other documents, breakdown of legal fees and fee notes. I know you guys employ lawyers, and in fact, you contract lawyers to appear in court on behalf of the county. And these lawyers charge what we call fee note. I'm not a lawyer, but I think I'm saying the right words. You let me know. And the auditor is saying, please provide us fee notes for those lawyers that you engaged when they were appearing in court on behalf of the county. And the Office of the Auditor General is asking for ledgers of advocate accounts and case files. Very basic documents that I believe you're having. Even if you were to go with the list that you have provided for us here, you would have provided those documents and then ask the Office of the Auditor General. Now, out of those documents that I've provided, for those cases that I have in that list, which ones are you referring to? You've just listed and you've not provided for those documents. And sometimes it makes us think, Honorable Chair, that we are hiding something in this legal fees and expenses. And I'm looking at the second question. I know we are going to it. And you will see why we fear for those legal expenses, because you cannot provide this documentation. I know what you are dealing with. You're dealing with previous litigations and decrees, but just provide documents so that we know it's not generated. I know we generate documents in this county, but we just want to prove that county attorney is not one of the departments that generate documents. Thank you, Chair. Chair, maybe just one thing. Even court attendants, they have asked for. Okay, there was a case in court, and we contracted some lawyer to go there, the court attendants, so that we know this person actually went to court. And we are paying somebody who went to court to defend us, but could not. That's why we lost, or that's why we won. Thank you, Chair.
Maybe to confirm, maybe to the fiscal auditor. I'm told you have some sensitive documents belonging to the county, which you need to provide to Wakili. He has just said that you need to provide some documents to the office. You have very sensitive documents. How are you in possession of such kind of documents? Do you also get documents through the back door? Because the attorney is talking about, would you please provide us with the documents you have? Which documents do you have, which they don't have? And this response is, you also do responses to yourself? Who did the responses for this? No, I fail to understand. Maybe you are here to confirm if you have some documents which belong to the county. We need to know.
Yeah, I think the primary custodians of the county's document is the management. The only thing which, and I believe the management has that, is any supporting schedule for our responses. That's the only thing that we are in possession. Otherwise, the documents concerning the county are under the custody of the management. And any document we get, we usually return after the end of the audit.
To make a ruling on his request concerning the documents, some of the documents you provide to him, I don't know the kind of documents. So this is why I'm giving you the opportunity to defend yourself. I don't know the kind of documents he's talking about. But he's also here, he can expound. Maybe if you are also not aware of that, such kind of document, he's here, he can expound. Wakili, you can expound the kind of documents which belongs to you and is in custody of the auditor.
Most appreciated. Generally, any payment from legal department in this scenario would be payment made to an advocate for a certain kind of file. Any payment, any court payment paid by second floor on legal settlements is done to an advocate or a party in a case regarding a certain case. Now I'm saying of the 22 million, we don't know they referred to which cases, because then it is easy for me to go back and say, this is a better response to give. In those other subsequent ones, they actually identified the case number. They say in this case number, this is what you paid. This is the problem you are getting in this one. And that is why they are cited. They are only cited because we could get back and find the file. And then look at the trail in the file that we need to give information to. But because it would really help me also to understand the 22 million was in respect to which matters. And probably you can also sanction for me management if management gave them papers that did not flow to a filed court dispute. Thanks.
Attorney, it is quite unfortunate that you are confirming you did not have the exit meeting with the auditor. From your submission, it is confirmed very clearly. These are issues you should have sorted out. See how you are embarrassing everybody. See. But now maybe Mr. Chege has something to say. Do you have something to say in response to?
Yeah, our reports are normally related to the accounting officer, and I believe the county attorney should collaborate with the accounts department. All these issues and whatever was unsupported, the details are shared with the accounting officer, and for us, we only provided any unsupported in terms of schedules and our explanation. Thank you.
It's okay. It is okay. It's okay. But if you, by any chance, you have, you may be having some opportunity that you are holding some documents for the county. It is quite unfortunate. That is quite illegal, although it is not confirmed, because you have defended yourself nicely on such issues. The main custodians of all the documents for the county, it is you people. And again, now you have to put your house in order, chief. You have to consult the county attorney. You can't just move some matters, then now you get to a quagmire without consulting the county attorney. How? The legal matters you can't respond to without consulting his office, obviously. How do you ignore that? Because eventually we are asking questions. He doesn't understand, really, he doesn't. Yeah, so you see that disconnect. Kindly please put your house in order. We have the parting shot. Honorable Millicent.
Thank you, Chair. I'm interested in knowing something. When engaging these lawyers from outside, is there procedure, or so long as I have a case, I just pick one? Do they have a procedure?
Maybe that is now, okay, back. It is an interest. Tony?
I'm sure that also relates to Roman 2. Is there a procedure? Yes, what happens is, what happens is when there is a case that affects the county where we are party, and it has to be farmed out, that the procedure is that you get to your pre-qualified list of advocates. As a matter of fact, the list is attached here. It's of about 52 firms. And depending on the matter you are tackling, actually, of those 52, less than 10 are still having matters, because generally for the year, matters are being handled by in-house lawyers, except where we have a difficult, which is very difficult, very, very scarce to reach. We are now handling most of matters affecting the county. But over the period, there is a list of pre-qualified law firms that are on the panel, which is expected of every, of every county attorney's office. And that is where then they would choose a lawyer in the panel. The list is...
Yes, okay, sir. That's fine. Just resume your seat. Honorable member, you have something?
Yes, yes, answered that. But initially when he was talking, I picked on something. It's like he was requesting your chair to sanction the office of the CFO to give him some documents. So I'm just wondering, what is, or how do you relate your office and the finance office?
Honorable member, I had directed really that they improve on the disconnect. There's a lot of disconnect. And probably this is why we're losing a lot of cases. Because probably the office of the attorney is ambushed at the 11th hour. You can't prepare for anything. You obviously will have to lose. It is very clear. It has come out very clear that there's a lot of disconnect, and that is quite unfortunate for the county. If you can ignore the office of the Attorney General on issues like this, you will be having a problem in the county. You can't ignore such kind of office because it's one way. On legal matters, everything is legal. PMF Act, whatnot, Constitution of Kenya. You have to do whatever you are doing within the Constitution. And who is to interpret that? Probably, where there's an issue. So we will still run into problem if you don't put your house in order. But we will not allow you at the same time to mess up the county. And you expect that when you come here, we clap. We won't be able to do that. You must be very clear on that. Much more if you have the parting shot, you include it in the parting shot probably.
Yes, my last one. To the Office of Internal Auditor. Before we reach to such a stage, your office, what have you been doing? Because it is not only one, we have several cases. What do you normally do?
Okay, maybe I can give the officer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Thank you for your concern.
You answer through the chair. Otherwise, it is going to be called an exchange.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
No, I just had to look at her. I have to be sure of whom I'm addressing if I turn to you. Because the question was raised from that side. Thank you. The auditors can even confirm to you that when they came to the office, they found we had done around 13 audit reports. It's no mean achievement. They are considering the numbers that we have. I've told you I have challenges. And when the king is naked, you just say you are naked. You call it white or black. It doesn't mean we are doing nothing. There are a number of so many things and even recommendations that are there. So the only thing that we need to strengthen on is making follow-up of those recommendations. Through the audit committee, which is in place now, and even through the PICPAC and even the Senate. All recommendations, both from the Office of the General and even the internal audit. However, the management also needs to take internal audit report seriously. That I must emphasize. Because mostly you find prophets are not honored at home. When they come to offices, the first entry, they'll tell you after entry meeting, is the Office of the Internal Auditor. They'll ask you about how many reports you have done, what meetings you have had, what recommendations you have made, so that as they come into the office to do the audit, they can even assess what extent of scope and even the time they'll take based on the internal audit office, which is one of the internal control system mechanism in an organization. I always say again, the first question that people will ask, as the honorable member has mentioned, where was the auditor? This question will be asked. You'll be asked whether you are here or even in future. It's the line of defense become the third line. The first one is management. Internal controls is when you ask the auditor, DNR, CPA, CS, where were you? When these controls have issues, we have raised issues on them. We have given recommendations. If they are not acted upon, where do I come in again? With that thin number of staff that we have. I rest my case.
We are gearing towards our parting shots. At the same time, if you have something you can say.
Yeah, so much. I've listened keenly to our internal audit, and you can see in his face that it's genuine, and he wants a better report out of our financial statements. Chief Officer, the internal auditor should not be crying that you listen to him and crying before us. That is giving you recommendations and you guys are not listening. The county attorney's office, the internal auditor should not be crying. Chair, I think he's a frustrated man because he's seeing things that are being asked by the Office of the Auditor General, things he feels would have been avoided if they only listened to him. So if you have individuals, because I believe it's individuals who are not listening to you, not the officers. If you have individuals who cannot listen to the internal audit, and then they come here again and we see a lot of embarrassment in the way they're handling questions, Chair, then we need to take a lot of action as a committee. We cannot just be having reports from the Office of the Auditor General. We sit here, we read through them, and then we don't follow up on the recommendations that we are talking about. They are not following their recommendations. As a committee, we must make sure that our recommendations are followed. Chair, if not, then there's no reason for us to be here. We cannot continue with such embarrassment before the whole county and country. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, maybe while you are away, even the Office of the Attorney General is also full of lamentations. There's a problem here. We need to sort out as a committee. We need to help them get things into order. I've just said here while you are away that they don't expect we will be clapping for them when they come here in the name of assembly, nothing like that. It is our role to oversight them. It is very clear. And Honorable Were.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm sorry I've been out the better part of the day. I just want to commend the Office of Auditor General for having come handy to identify things that are making Kisumu County to have queries. And Bwana Chair, I just want to implore on our management so that they make things better. They need to work in collaboration, the Office of the Attorney, the Office of the Audit. Let us make good use of our internal audit so that we start with one step. Let us clear our house first so that when the Auditor General comes calling, then we are in a position to defend ourselves. We are in a position to make things better so that we can also bring back public confidence. We can do it. The Assembly will listen to you. When we are seeing that things are being done in the proper way, you are trying to pull your socks. We will be very, very much willing to ensure that we help you, put you back to the position that you are supposed to be, so that things can run better. Otherwise, Bwana Chair, thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, listening through this, you get a feeling that our country is walking on a very thin line. And when you hear the Office of the Internal Auditor, the Office of the County Attorney, all are crying, that means the only last hope for this county is the County Assembly through this committee. Mr. Chairman, I would wish that the management realizes that all of us, we are only department, but we are serving the same people. If we would have known that and believed in that, then we would have done the right thing. All the things that we have discussed here, Mr. Chairman, would it be there was a cooperation or respect to the Office of the Auditor? And they're all institutions that are created by the law to provide controls, Mr. Chairman. I think we would have not been where we are. This report, if it would have gone to the Senate, I think the county government of Kisumu would be more ashamed than the Kisii county government that we saw over the television. Mr. Chairman, how I pray that the management should work closely and follow all the available opportunities to address some of the issues being raised by either the internal auditor or the Office of the Auditor General for us to save this country. And as a committee, I think the only things remaining is for us to write the report as it is. Whether it will criminate somebody else, but I think here is time whereby somebody should carry their own cross. We cannot again be sitting here receiving the report, reading them, and just remaining business as usual. It will be meaningless because it's like the whole county is now looking upon the county assembly through this committee to save this county. It is so sad, Mr. Chairman. Otherwise, I want to conclude by thanking the Office of the Auditor General. I also want to thank the Office of the Internal Auditor. The gentleman is honest, but there's nothing that he can do. Once the report is out of his table, what awaits next is the implementation. If the recommendations are not implemented, however good the report may be, still meaningless. Just a piece of paper or just any other document that we flying or gathering dust in the shelves. So, Mr. Chairman, I think this committee should retreat and write a serious report that will stand the test of time. Otherwise, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Maybe to the Office of the Auditor General and members of the County Assembly, to the side of the Executive. We really appreciate your time. This is a constitutional requirement that you appear here after spending some money, which is authorized. The main purpose of being here is accountability to the people of Kisumu County, those whom we provide services to. And really, the county is led by the professor, who is an economist. He was also the pioneer chair of PICPAC Senate. The people who were putting down structures that we are following today. It is quite unfortunate that when we go to the Senate, we will be embarrassed more than. Kindly please work very closely with the Office of the Auditor. I'm repeating this because there's something I know, probably, which many of our members don't know. Kindly please work very closely and take advice from the internal audit. I think this is another office which somebody may not consider so much because they don't control any money. They only work on papers. So somebody might not see the importance of that office. But you will see such kind of the importance of that office when we come to the Assembly or to the Senate, or where there's accountability issues. You will realize that is the buck stops with him in one way or the other. I wonder an entity which can operate without attorney, the advice of the attorney. It's quite unfortunate. You expose a lot to us. We don't want to hear those kind of things. Kindly please go and put your house in order so that now we really reflect the leadership which is up there, the professor. It's very important that we account the prudent use of public resources, the PMF Act be observed, the Country Regulation 2015. These are some of the very important documents which should guide how we operate. Such kind of exaggerations of 90 million against 45, really, what would you say when you get there? See, everything is a mess. Why? And we have been here for some time. It has been promised by the Office of the Auditor, the internal audit, that at least we are doing something on internal control. We will see if we are doing something really. The other time Waziri told us about this when we were in Nakuru, that we are going to improve in our audit report. There's no improvement so far because it was adverse, it is still adverse up to this moment. So it is, I don't believe it is, I don't believe in myself. I don't believe we have a qualified report. I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm doubting it. Because if you can't provide documents which are required, supportive documents, and you are given qualified, really, how? I really doubt it is not there. It is adverse. So kindly please put your house in order. It is not only your house, but it is our house. Those people don't know that there is executive and assembly. When we go down there, they tell us which are Kisumu Utieko. But you can't say it is executive because they know you are there. So it is quite unfortunate. Kindly please, we agree that there are some documents to be surrendered to the committee. Please let us get the documents on Monday, because at the end of the week, the following week, we will be we'll be sitting down for 1 week on our retreat, writing almost 25 reports, which we have done to the assembly. 25 reports so far of different entities, including this executive. So kindly please provide us with such kind of documents in time, because it's the same document, our report, which will help you navigate in the Senate. I had a given warning as a committee member and as chair that kindly please let us do our things in the assembly first before going to the Senate. You will identify a lot of problems within this, and now you will rectify before going to the Senate. But when you go to the Senate now, when you come back, it doesn't make. The primary oversight role for the county governments lies with the assemblies. So if you don't do it here, you go there, you will not make it. I think I'm done. I thank everybody. I pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the officers of leaders and the just government of the people and leaders and the county governments for the welfare of the society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold in your abundant favor as your servants whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important tasks in the country. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberations in a just and a faithful manner, as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace and prosperity and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our church. Amen. Our meeting is adjourned.